Look, I think he can do it for 3 to 5 more years. I mean, at the level he's playing offensively, and the fact that we have to kind of throw out the norms with LeBron James. Nobody in NBA history has been built like LeBron James. Nobody in NBA history has the kind of blend of unique physical talents that LeBron James has. So offensively, he can play that way for 3 to 5 years. Where I'd push back a little bit on, and look, it's not really relevant this year because even you tweeted this out the other night, James Harden is going to be the MVP, so it's not going to change much this season. But defensively, this is probably LeBron's worst year defensively. I mean, I was at the game.
I would agree.
I was at the game in Portland last week, and just watching him the entire game, that was a magnificent offensive game. Turnaround jump shots, three-pointers, the dunk where he put Yusuf Nurkic in a body bag. I mean, he was phenomenal. But defensively, he just takes 3, 4, 5 possessions off in the first 3 quarters. Now, that's not to say he's not still a great defensive player. Yeah. He's just not dialing it up to a 10 until he has to. So he's conserving energy on that end of the floor to give it on the other end, and that's going to make him, as time goes on, a more one-dimensional player.
The defense argument you're not going to get from me. Like LeBron, there was a point in time when LeBron was arguably the best defender in the league, a couple years in Miami. He came in second place to Defensive Player of the Year 1 year to Marc Gasol. He is not putting forth that type of effort night in, night out anymore. Now, I would compare that something to a marathoner that is saving for a finishing sprint because, as we have seen in the playoffs, his level of defense ticks up and the team's level of defense ticks up. But when it comes to MVPs, when it comes to evaluating guys in the regular season, we don't give them credit, and we shouldn't, for what they will be come the postseason. So I'm not going to make the defense argument at all. As far as how long can he be the best player in the league, because he is still so clearly the best offensive force in the league, this is where the age thing is interesting.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best offensive player. You said that yesterday. I don't think he's the best offensive player.
Well, then how can he be? Let me ask you this, because I said that yesterday and you disagreed with it, but then I don't understand. Because you believe he's the best player in the league, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you think he hasn't been good on defense, and there's players better than him on offense.
No. Listen, you have to separate them. You said the best offensive player. The best offensive player, the most dangerous player right now, James Harden and Kevin Durant. Like, I would still take those guys over LeBron offensively. I'm not talking about their totality. We're talking about on the offensive side. All right? If we have one shot to win a game, who do you want to have the ball or orchestrating the offense?
Well, but then I'm just curious. Then why don't you think KD's the best player in the league? Because I know you think he's a better defender. So if KD,
I don't compare them to playing defensively. What they're doing defensively is totally different. LeBron is because of lack of interest. It's not as if he can't play defense. He's played defense at a high level. At this point in his career, he is conserving energy on the defensive side. That's it. So there's no need to compare him defensively to him and what Kevin Durant is doing on the defensive end.
You have to separate, too. I mean, the MVP versus who is still the best player in the world, who can still do everything offensively. LeBron is still the latter. And, Chris, I'd push back a little bit because you say, who would you want with the ball in his hands, end-of-game situations? It's still LeBron James. And look, you're picking from the rarefied air of the great. I mean, would I have a problem with Harden having the ball? Of course not. He gets to the free throw line as much as anybody. Same thing with Kevin Durant. His shot making is almost unparalleled at this point. But LeBron, head of steam, going to the basket, court vision, everything combined, willingness to pass, I would still want him with the ball in his hands end of games.
Well, and to the question on...
See, I brought you two together.
See, that's exactly right.
It's almost impossible.
To the question on how much longer can he be the best player in the league, while LeBron hasn't seemed to tail off the last few years with age, like he was better in year 14 than year 13, and I think he's been better in year 15 than year 14, what we got to remember is the guys who are supposed to then take the mantle, what will age be doing to them? Steph just turned 30. KD's about to turn 30. Harden's about to turn 29. Typically, you remove LeBron from it, your peak as an NBA player is 27 to 31. And then Jordan, it was a little different with that second comeback. But typically, that is your peak. So then we have to wonder, okay, so if LeBron you said another 3 years or so. When he starts to tail off, is that around the same time KD and Steph are tailing off? And then are we talking about actually the guy, it gets passed to Giannis or it gets passed to Embiid? And there's one other factor here that I think is really interesting, which is you look at the top 7 players in the sport. LeBron, Durant, Harden, Steph, Kawhi, Anthony Davis, Giannis. Pick the order. I think Russ is, you can make an argument for Russ, but he's probably 8th. Of those top 7, 6 of them have been injured this year. The one who hasn't been injured this year is the one who hasn't been injured ever. So when we're talking about, or hasn't missed games due to injury ever, I should say. So when we're talking about how much longer can he maintain this, the injury factor, which is what stopped Kobe from being one of the, Kobe, until he blew his Achilles, was one of the 5 best players in the league up to year, I think that was 17 when it happened. And then injury got him. Like, that is a factor with LeBron that we haven't had to do the math on, unlike really any other player that we've ever seen.
Look, if you're asking if, you know, the Hardens and the Currys and the Durants in year 15 of their careers are going to be doing what LeBron is doing in year 15 of his career, absolutely not. I don't, because LeBron, his athleticism, his freakiness, that dunk he had on Nurkic might be the best dunk of his career, and he's in year 15. And I would say this, I think this year, and you can take this back to 2007 when LeBron carried that team to the finals. I think this year, LeBron has had to do more to will his team to wins than at any point during his career. December, when they're on that winning streak, he's having to carry that team against the Sacramentos and the Memphises. Right now, he's having to do the exact same thing. At this stage of his career, he's doing more, and that's remarkable.
And I also, with the way the league is set up, with the spacing, and LeBron handling the ball more, he's more apt to stay at the top of the NBA because of the way the system is now. You can spread the court. He's going to be able to get to the bucket now easier than he could 5 years ago. So that's not going to be as taxing on his body. I believe him fixing his back and his overall health, because we have to realize who LeBron is athletically. And if he does not get hurt, and the way the rules are now, he's set up to do this for another 3 to 5 years.
How long do you think he wants to play for?
Until his son plays, honestly.
I mean, I think that's just, isn't that something the media kind of like
I don't know.
threw in?
I'm going to tell y'all about, look at Tom Brady.
It's not like we hear from Tom Brady every single day. He's always telling us how long he wants to play. I mean,
every time, I asked you this too before when people were trying to put Tom Brady off the pasture. What do you do next? Like, you don't understand the thrill it is to be that person and to be able to play that sport and to dominate. Like, why would I do something else?
And LeBron has been very transparent, especially as of late, when he talked about chasing Jordan's ghost, about he wants to be considered, not just by a select few people, but generally as the greatest player ever. It is going to be incredibly difficult for him to get to 6 championships. So how long will he play? I think his argument, and I think you've said this, CC, that his argument, if it's going to happen, is going to be the overwhelming nature of the numbers.
That's the only.
And I would just say this too quickly: that one of the reasons you hear San Antonio brought up as a free agent destination is because of Greg Popovich's ability to kind of guide guys late in their career and keep them healthy and at full strength. So they're like Tim Duncan; they're playing to near 40.
So when we talk about how long will he go? Well, he wants Kareem's scoring record. That's going to take 5 years. Like, so now we're talking about year 20. You mentioned him saying out loud to the media when he was walking through the tunnel, "I'd like to play with my son one day." That's going to take to year 22, if that, not to put anything on the child, but like, we're talking about age 40 would be 22 years in the league for LeBron.
Can see it.
Kareem did it.
So I was right. LeBron James will play for 80 more years. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.